Hello, this is Angelia with today's wisdom. Today's wisdom comes from Daily Om, the dance of intimacy, coming back to center in a relationship. And that is something I know something about. My husband and I, we've been divorced and remarried, and, there was some problems with intimacy. Neither of us grew up in the best, household. And we didn't have great examples of a loving relationship. So, there were some problems there we had to work out before we could, be together and have a successful whole relationship. Anyone in a long-term relationship knows that the dance of intimacy involves coming together and moving apart. And it does, and it should. There are people I've met who are very immature and they think the other person's life should be all about them. No. You should each have your separate life, and then you come together in the middle, and that's how it's supposed to be. If that's not how it is, then that's something you all should probably work on. Early in a relationship, intense periods of closeness are important in order to establish the ground of a new union, and that's what a lot of people call the honeymoon phase. But of course, when, oh my gosh, I'm trying not to sneeze, but it's not going to work, is it? Bless me, Lord. But in the beginning, you're all close and cuddly, and but that dies down as you get used to each other, and the hormones die down a little bit, and then you have to be able, like I say, to have your own lives and then come together in the middle. Just as a sapling needs a lot more attention than a full-grown tree, and if you've ever grown trees, you know that. They got to be, some of them got to be stay. We have trees we put down on our farm, and the deer will tear them up. So the young trees, we have to put a fence around, some chicken wire and stuff, to keep the deer from tearing up the sapling. It needs more support than a full-grown tree. Budding relationships demand time and attention if they are to fully take root. And that's a problem with some folks who, especially if you have intimacy issues, the relationship doesn't quite take root. You keep them at arm's length, you're standoffish because you've been hurt before, and that's a problem that I had. And my husband also had this problem. We didn't want to get too close, but then we learned we had to tear all that apart and get too close in order for us to come down from that and have a successful relationship. Once they become more established, the individuals in the union begin to turn their attention outward again to the other parts of their lives that matter, such as work, family, and friendships. And I've known a couple of women who their husband is their life or their boyfriend is their life. And one of my first coaching clients, that's what I told them. A person could be a part of your life, but they can't be your life. That's too much of a burden to put on somebody else that they are your life. You need to have a life outside of the other person. This is natural and healthy. Yes, it is. Yet, if a long-term relationship is to last, turning towards one another recurrently with the same curiosity, attention, and nurturance of earlier times is essential. And my grandma years ago told me women need to keep a little mystery about them. But it's been my experience that women are always going to have a little mystery about us because men don't pay as much attention as we do. So they're going to know, well, I didn't know you like that, or I didn't know you wore that, or like that, or, my husband, he's been around here off and on for 30 plus years, still doesn't know where we keep stuff. Where is this? It's like, dude, do you live here? So it's been my, experience that there's going to be a little mystery for a woman because men just don't pay as much attention as we do. And I don't know whether that's their brain structure or they're just worried about everything else. I don't know. In a busy and demanding world full of obligations and opportunities, we sometimes lose track of our primary relationships, thinking they will tend to themselves. And that's called taking your partner for granted. And it will not tend to itself, unless the other partner is a very understanding, patient person with you, that's not going to happen. You need to work at a relationship. My husband and I, we have a date night that was prescribed, for us, that we have a date night. And so we have our date night and we go out and have our date. We go to dinner and then we either go, shopping at the Goodwill, or we go watch a movie or something like that. Something that we can do together, that we enjoy together, because we both like, thrifting and antiques and stuff like that. That's why we have a lot of stuff, and pretty much no money, because, we buy on the cheap. As other people are like, oh my gosh, you're doing this, you got this. It's called, because we're cheap, We got a new truck because he saved 30 years to get the new truck. So, that's how that works. We may have the best intentions when we think about how nice it would be to surprise our partner with a gift or establish a weekly date night. Again, he'll bring me little surprises home every now and then, little stuff he's made at work, because, he has access to materials that are left over from jobs they do, and they don't want those, to keep those. So they tell them, if y'all want it, take it, So he'll make me like little sculptures and things like that he brings home for me. And I think that's just, cute as it could be. I try to get him to sell stuff, but he won't. He's insecure because his mother picks on everything he does, and nothing he ever did for her was good enough. And I think that's a shame, that people believe that stuff that, parents with their own issues put into you. Yet somehow life gets in the way. We may think that our love is strong enough to survive without attention, and it might be. But here's the thing. If you're not paying your partner any attention, there's plenty of other people out there who would be happy to. So there's always that on the table. If you're ignoring your partner, you're not paying him any attention, showing him any consideration or respect, there's other folks out there who are noticing your partner and be all too happy to pay them some attention. So keep that in mind. Yet even mature trees need water and care if they are to thrive. So if you're not watering, your garden, somebody else would be happy to water your garden. So, again, if you ain't showing that you want it, somebody else will. One of the best ways to nourish a relationship is through communication. And that's a problem that my husband has had, communicating. He is probably on the spectrum. He was never diagnosed, but he shuts down, just like my son who has Asperger's does with strong emotions. So I have to look into his eyes and talk to him, as calmly as I can, to get him to understand what I'm saying to him. Because he'll shut up. Shut down. No, not. And I'll say, no, this is important. We have to talk about this. So, sometimes communication can be an issue, but it's necessary in a relationship. If you feel that a distance has grown between you and your partner, you may be able to bridge the gap by sharing how you feel. And that always will work. If you come and say, I feel like you're taking me for granted, you're not valuing the relationship anymore, whatever it is you're feeling, because they might just have had a bad day, something weird happened, and they're dwelling on it, and they're thinking about it, and they're in their own head, and they might not even mean to make you feel that way, but the things they're doing, the way they're behaving is making you feel that way. So usually, if you stop that and say, hey, why are you treating me like this? You make me feel like this. They'll be, I didn't even mean that. I'm sorry. You're right. I was thinking about this. Do your best to avoid blame and regret. Because we're all too fast to blame the other person. And as the saying goes, it takes two to tango. So, if you take care of your side of the deal, own up your feelings and talk about your feelings, this is how I'm feeling right now. That usually will keep things sewn together. But if you're sitting back and you're like, then now this shit's happening again. I regret that I even married this person. Then that's going to get into your psyche, and then that's how you're going to feel, and you might destroy a relationship that you actually don't want to. Focus instead on the positive. which is the fact that you want to grow closer together. And let's face it, if you got together in the first place, there was an attraction there. If you became in a serious relationship, you must have loved the person. So, you have to think about it's probably worth it to you to pursue this. Sometimes, just acknowledging that there is a distance between you has the effect of bringing the relationship into balance. And now sometimes my husband has said to me a couple times, we're in a rut. I think we're in a rut. Which lets me know he's kind of bored with the relationship. And we need to, do something different. Maybe you take a weekend getaway, take a little vacation, as soon as he can, and spice things up and, do something different than, the everyday stuff that he feels like, he's on a treadmill, and he's bored. In other cases, more intense effort and attention may be required. Like, you might have to go to couples counseling. We did it. You can do it. It's not a big deal. Remember to have compassion for each other. That is important. Because if you love this person, you're going to have compassion and understanding for them. And they should give you the same respect. You're in the same boat together and trying to maintain the right balance of space and togetherness to keep your relationship healthy and thriving. At least that's how it should be. Express faith and confidence in each other and enjoy the slow dance of intimacy that can resume between the two of you. And, that is important. And actually, we have like a video night we watch. We used to have dance night, but my husband's gotten to the point where he's so tired now. We have dance night in bed. We just lay there. He sways. He holds my hands. But, he just doesn't have a lot of energy anymore. He's wearing out, poor guy. And since his stroke, he gets tired easier and faster. Used to be he'd stay up, when he was younger, heck, he'd stay up till 4 a.m. out at the bar or whatever. And then as we got older, he would watch the late shows with me, and now 9:30, he's ready for bed. So, poor guy. So if you want to come back to the center of a relationship, there needs to be a dance of intimacy, and it can even be a slow dance in your living room on a Friday night with a glass of wine, just something, to bring you back, to your relationship, because life happens, and it's messy, and it's hard, and, everyone's not going to get along 100% of the time. But if you loved each other and you became in a serious relationship, then there must have been enough love to make that decision. So that is worth saving. Think about it. Please like and share this wisdom so we can spread it around the world. Thanks for watching. If you want to help me out, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to help me out even more, go to my Patreon page and become a patron. That's all for now. Until next time.